I have a completely different opinion of this episode. Welcome to Warp Factor 5, a Star Trek Rewatch podcast brought to you by TrekCore.com. I am your host, Alex Perry.
Velocity, Warp Factor 5.
Course and speed set, sir.
Warp Factor 5 is a Star Trek Rewatch podcast where each episode my guest and I discuss and rate the next 5 episodes of Star Trek in in-universe chronological order, beginning with the Enterprise NX-01 in the 22nd century and traveling forward from there. This time on Warp Factor 5, we are covering episodes from Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, set around 2152 in the timeline of Star Trek. Together, we'll dive deep into the next 5 episodes of Star Trek, their standout moments, how they contribute to the larger Star Trek story, and give each episode a warp factor ranking between 1 and 5. I hope you'll join us at home in ranking each episode and picking your favorite moments from each episode block. And my guest this week is Ross Webster. Ross, thank you so much for being on Warp Factor 5.
Thank you for having me, Alex. I'm very excited to be here, and I've really enjoyed watching 5 episodes of Excellent Enterprise.
All right, Ross, I'm thrilled I get to talk to you. I have a question I'm dying to know the answer to. Ross Webster, what is your favorite Star Trek series?
My favorite Star Trek series?
Yep.
This is hard. I feel like I've got a modern series and an original series. Which
Okay, I will allow that.
So I like classic TNG. I can always sit back and watch an episode of TNG. Yep. I want to lean into DS9 sometimes, but TNG you can just rewatch. Just you take one and done, and just enjoy it for its randomness, and that's fine. And then I absolutely love rewatching Lower Decks. I've always got a Lower Decks on the go. So those two, I would say they're the top 2 for the minute. But it could always change depending on where I am in a rewatch. I'll probably carry on watching Enterprise after this for a little bit.
And if I said right now you could watch either Next Generation or Lower Decks, what mood are you in at this exact moment in time?
I would pop some Lower Decks on because we've just watched 5 episodes of Enterprise, and I know that they are going to love some Enterprise as well, and they might mention a couple of things. I'll get some references.
Yeah, watch the penultimate episode with our beloved T'Pol returning.
Exactly.
So you're telling me you're some kind of a time traveler?
That's one way of putting it. Maybe this will help clear things up. This is how we keep an eye on what's going on. You might call it a temporal observatory.
Well, in today's episode, we will be discussing episode 21 to 25 of Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Vox Sola, Fallen Hero, Desert Crossing, 2 Days and 2 Nights, and Shockwave Part 1. These episodes aired between May 1st and May 22nd, 2002. The dominant US domestic story of this period was the revelation on May 15th that President Bush had received an intelligence briefing on August 6, 2001, just so happened to be my birthday, 60 days before the September 11th attacks, warning that Osama bin Laden was determined to strike inside the United States and that patterns of suspicious activity consistent with preparations for hijacking had been observed. The disclosure triggered a major political crisis for the administration and intensified calls for an independent 9/11 inquiry. FBI spy Robert Hansen was sentenced to life in prison on May 10th for selling US secrets to Moscow over 2 decades, and former President Jimmy Carter arrived in Cuba on May 12th for the first visit by a US former president since Castro's 1959 revolution. At the movies, Spider-Man opened on May 3rd and became the first film in history to gross over $100 million in a single weekend, taking in $114.8 million in 3 days before Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones opened on May 16th and immediately took the top spot. Well, Ross, you're my first British guest, so I'm tired of talking about people watching this on UPN. I want to know what your experience was of watching Star Trek, and when did you watch it live? Was it Sky One? Tell me about 2002 Ross and what he's doing in this period of time.
So for me, I had lived through a golden age of Star Trek. So I'd gotten into TNG during its British run.
Yep, BBC Two, 6 o'clock.
I was there. All the way through secondary school, I was watching TNG and Deep Space Nine. I couldn't believe it when they were doing a spin-off, a Deep Space Nine spin-off. I was like, wow, people really love Star Trek.
Yeah.
They're making even more. I was there for it. When they announced Voyager, I was like, well, obviously they announced Voyager because everyone loves Star Trek.
Yep.
They must carry on making Star Trek. And in 2001, I went to university.
Yep.
And so I didn't have as much access to a television, and I never had Sky or anything like that. So I remember missing most of the end of Voyager. I sort of petered out on. I didn't see the end of it. I had to read them. I remember I bought the novel. So I want to know what happens. I bought the novel of Endgame and read that in lieu of watching the episode. And then
didn't pop down to W.H. Smith's and pick up the VHS tape.
I did buy the novel from W.H. Smith's, and I remember looking at the VHS cassettes in a shop called John Menzies in Eastbourne, which I was in every day reading the Star Trek novels that I couldn't afford to purchase. When I went to uni, it was the first time Star Trek was going to be on Channel 4, so it was going to be on a TV channel with adverts.
Right, yes.
That irritated me because I was so used to just watching 45 minutes of solid Star Trek. But I was like, it's going to be on TV. I'm happy just to watch it. And I remember there were bus adverts. It was a big deal. Star Trek was being advertised in bus stops, on posters around the town. And the advert, I remember, it was a Channel 4 advert, and it was a picture of the NX-01 and a little speech bubble coming out of it saying, Kirk who? It's a prequel.
Yep.
And I thought, that's great. I really enjoyed it. I absolutely thought I was really excited for it. And I can't remember how they premiered it on Channel 4, but I did watch the premiere on Channel 4. And I remember I thought the premiere was great. I really enjoyed it. The theme tune kept me awake that night, like what's gone on, what's gone wrong, like maybe they won't use it again, maybe it was like a one-off, like how have they messed this up so bad. But I enjoyed the episodes. But then being at uni, it was very hard for me to keep track of watching all the Star Trek, so I really did peter out. And I think I tried to watch a lot of maybe season 2. I was in a house that had a TV, so I was like, oh, Star Trek's on, and they're repeating it at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday night or something. I was trying to watch, like, get an episode. I remember watching it with a then girlfriend. I was like, oh, the new Star Trek's on, let's watch it. And we watched it, and it was a really bad Mayweather episode, and she was not very impressed, I recall. And I was like, this hasn't gone down well.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch any more Enterprise after that until Netflix in 2010. That was it.
So your main experience of like enjoying Enterprise was actually when it hit Netflix years later.
Yeah, I never saw any of season 4.
Yeah,
and I didn't know really. I dropped out of like following the plots and stuff while I was at uni, so I didn't really know anything about the Xindi. I knew it was 5 species, but I didn't know what the plot was or what the story was. So it wasn't until then that I went back and watched seasons. I watched 2, 3, and 4 completely, and then I also picked up the odd episode of Voyager that I hadn't seen. Like I hadn't seen the episode. I hadn't seen Macrocosm. Like I'd known it from the Star Trek fact files, but I'd never actually watched the episode because I'd missed it when it was on.
Yeah,
did the no repeat viewing. So then I mopped up. So Netflix really helped me out and mopped up all of the stuff I hadn't seen. And there was like a 3-month period where I just exclusively watched Star Trek. Just every night I was watching more just to make sure I'd seen every episode.
And was there a moment as you're like starting to watch Enterprise? Because presumably at that point in time you're just like, well, I might as well watch it all, right? Because it didn't sound like you'd had a great experience with it when it was first on. Was there a moment where you were like, oh, I think I get this now. I think I like this. I
think maybe it's just getting older and you just think these are the good solid stories I'm looking for. They're on a spaceship. They're going to find some aliens.
Yeah.
It's a bit stiff sometimes. Sometimes it's a bit awkward, but this really is the TV show I'm watching. This is what I was there for. I was there for it in TNG. I'm there for it at Voyager, and now I'm here for it in Enterprise. So I was pretty happy that it sort of solidly rounded off the 90s era Star Trek. And it was a bit different. You know, the prequel idea, I actually was on board for. I actually quite enjoyed it being a prequel. I thought that could have been a fairly exciting idea. Pros and cons with the prequel idea. I think some of it worked, some of it didn't work. But yeah, I think I was once I'd rewatched it, I was pretty satisfied. It was fine Star Trek, which I'd happily rewatch in the grand rewatch, which I'm always planning.
They did do a great job of promoting Enterprise in the UK. I'm looking up I have this framed postcard on the wall above my desk, and it's Jonathan Archer in the Enterprise spacesuit, and it's this promotional postcard that was distributed in Britain. And above Archer in the spacesuit, it says "Meet Kirk's childhood hero."
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so
that's
great.
Really good.
Yeah.
Because they really enjoyed the idea as a prequel, and they made that's a good joke. That's funny.
Yeah, right.
But they still have to always link it to Kirk and Spock somehow because they're the main dudes, aren't they? They're the main guys. And I remember on Channel 4, I think it was, I don't know what the show was called, but they had they'd show Star Trek on a Friday night and a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And then the Sunday morning, they'd always have a Trekkie on and to talk about Star Trek.
Oh, God.
And I remember it was awful because they just would really absolutely rip into this guy.
Sure.
It was quite an embarrassing watch. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
He's one of us, and forget this. Just put the show on. I don't need to hear
Yeah.
Just put the TV on. So yeah, it was the end of my childhood Star Trek watching, but it was also, I suppose, ironically, the beginning of my adult Star Trek watching because it was the first thing I watched when I got Netflix. I was like, oh, Enterprise, let's go. So I was right back into it where I left off.
Warp 2. Warp 5.
All right, let's talk about our 5 episodes. We're going to discuss each episode and give them a warp factor rating, ranging from warp factor 1 up to the coveted warp factor 5. And if you want to join in at home and rank these episodes along with us, half warp factors are acceptable. We begin this week with Vox Sola. A symbiotic alien comes aboard Enterprise and captures several of the starship's officers in its web, who she struggles to communicate with the alien invader in an attempt to save the trapped officers. This is the episode with the slime monster who,
The plastic bag monster?
Yep, yeah. Traps Archer and Trip, and you get the invention of the force field in this episode, and it turns out the creature's just trying to get home because the episode opens with the Cretaceans, sort of marching off the Enterprise because they're so deeply offended that the humans have eaten in front of them, and the creature was attached to their ship, and then it attaches to Enterprise. Anyway, they take the creature home, reunite the creature with the rest of itself, and everybody has a good time, and it's all through the power of communication. Ross, what do you think of Vox Sola?
So I thought this was a fine episode. So a one that I would happily watch again. I thought the main plot is like classic TOS, isn't it? Misunderstood alien monster.
Totally.
A bit of some peril in the middle. What do we need to do to resolve this situation? Let's find a happy solution. And then there was sort of a Voyager-style tac-tac B-plot with the Cretaceans and the miscommunication. So I liked both the plots. I liked the fact they were mildly connected, which is always a bit of fun when they have Star Trek plots. I thought it was very convenient that Reed managed to figure out force fields on a starship in the middle of nowhere. I was like, this seems the most unlikely aspect of this story.
21 episodes into Enterprise, they're like, you know what we need to bring back? The force field.
We need to get a force field on board. And we can't have someone on Earth invent it now. That's crazy. Someone on the ship should invent it.
If that thing continues to grow, we're going to have to find a way to contain it.
Do you have a suggestion?
Starfleet's been working on creating a stable EM barrier for the last 5 years.
A force field?
Right. They just haven't found a way to control the particle density. All the specs are in the database. I've been trying to jerry-rig a prototype of my own.
And?
I've got it stable enough to absorb a phase pistol blast 60% of the time. I think I can improve on that.
I suggest you work quickly.
He sorts the force fields out. I like the creature. I liked how weird it looks. I like the practical special effects of it. I mean, when the captain and Tucker and Rostov are all strung up, it doesn't look amazing, but I was like, I got some real Doctor Who vibes from it, from 80s Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I was invested in it. I was very happy. I was like, this doesn't have to be CGI. They're all tied up in their white goo and there's white plastic all over them. I was in it. I was happy with that. I thought the bit where they're sort of mentally connected via the creature's nervous system was a bit of fun, though I don't recall it doing too much to the actual plot. It was just a sort of a little bit of fun rather than, I didn't think it actually did anything. I didn't think they used that to further the plot anyhow, but it was quite interesting.
The Texas goalie can't block to his right because he keeps his hands too deep. How do you know that?
Captain, I know it too. And I don't understand anything about water polo.
It's this life form. It's linking us together. Somehow.
We gotta get out.
Calm down.
This thing's gotten inside our heads.
Trip. Do you know what I'm thinking about?
Now's not the time to be thinking about the regionals.
Trip.
Senior year, North American regionals against Princeton. You were down by 2 goals under a minute left.
And what was I thinking? What was I thinking?
You thought you could win every game. You always thought you could win, no matter how far behind you were.
And we did. We went on to the finals that year. As soon as you give up, the game's lost.
Oh, it's somebody quotes the Captain's Oath, new life and new civilizations. They say that. I think that's Tucker. Does Tucker say that?
I think that's right.
Yeah, they gave it a shout out. Phlox refuses to torture the tentacle. He has like a little sausage of it and refuses to torture it. And I was like, good for you, Phlox. Even though it's just like it looks like a leak, of just a long white blob. He's like, no, it could be intelligent. I refuse to torture it.
Yeah.
Fine. Good for you.
How's our little friend?
Fast asleep. It appears to have entered a dormant state. Probably a reaction to the shock of being severed from the larger organism.
But it's alive.
Very much so.
Good. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to run a few tests of my own.
What kind of tests?
I need to determine how much bioelectric stress it can tolerate.
May I ask why?
I'm trying to create a force field to isolate the cargo bay. But if it's going to work, I have to calculate how much of a jolt it will take to repel the organism without killing it. Or any of the people it's taken.
If you intend to pummel this appendage with EM radiation until it cries for mercy, I'm afraid I can't permit that.
Why not?
This is more than just a severed limb. It exhibits all the signs of an intelligent being.
Intelligent being or not, its big brother is in the cargo bay strangling the captain and 4 other crewmen. If we don't do something to contain it now, it could pose a threat to everyone on board.
There are less invasive ways to gather the information you need.
Such as?
A microcellular analysis.
How long would that take?
Less than an hour.
In less than an hour, that thing could spread across half a deck.
I'm willing to help you, Mr. Reed, but not if it means torturing this organism. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't our mission to try to better understand unique forms of life?
Not if they're trying to kill the captain.
We don't know anything about this creature's intentions.
I admire interspecies ethics, but until Hoshi tells me she's found a way to communicate with it, I have to assume its intentions are hostile. Now, if you don't mind.
If you want information to help you construct your force field, you'll acquire it under my supervision.
I'm sure I don't have to remind you, Doctor. I am the ranking officer here.
Not in my sickbay. Unless the captain says otherwise.
The captain is in no condition to offer an opinion.
Precisely.
And then also, I realised that everything I know about water polo, I know from Star Trek Enterprise. So I don't know anything else about water polo. So whatever, they were watching an episode of water polo, and he has the yellow ball, and I learned, Trip's learning what they were, and briefly I remembered what Trip learned, although I've now forgotten. It was only yesterday I watched this episode.
Yeah. Was I even aware of the existence of water polo before this episode? Quite possibly not.
I don't know what a sport to pick. But then is it any worse than Sisko likes baseball and Picard likes fencing and Janeway likes coffee? I don't know. I mean, people got to like stuff, haven't they?
I guess it's because Rick Berman's son was playing water polo at college while Enterprise was being made, so that's where that comes from.
I didn't know that. So maybe he just had water polo on the brain. And it's just like, well, my son loves it. Everyone must love it.
So what warp factor rating do you give it?
I gave this slightly higher than perhaps it deserves. I gave it a 3.5 because of my enjoyment of it. Probably it's really only a 3, but I was sold by the alien. And Reed complains about nouns and verbs. So I was like, well, anything that mentions nouns and verbs, I'm giving an extra half.
That's an automatic half point from Ross Webster.
I'm always there for the nouns and verbs.
Yeah, this one is a 3 for me. I echo much of what you said. It's one of those episodes where it's like, it's a fun episode. It's not a particularly substantial episode. I think it was 2 episodes ago, Jen Tift, your former Snap Trek co-host, had identified that, like, early Enterprise has TOS episodes that are sort of dressed up as Enterprise episodes, and then it has, like, Enterprise episodes. And this, to me, feels like it fits more in the TOS episode dressed up as an Enterprise episode.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's that sort of, like, it's sort of a TOS, like, premise that's being done by the crew of the NX-01.
Yeah.
Potentially with 1960s production values for the...
for the monster.
For the splooge monster.
You shouldn't call him a monster. It was an intelligent
life form.
with
It was an intelligent
motivations
life form.
of its own. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was just trying to survive and get back home and communicate.
I think that was probably something I wanted to know more about. Like, it had such unusual anatomy, but other than the fact it had that anatomy and it was we didn't really learn anything about it apart from it wanted to go home.
Yes.
Which I thought was a weird because we connected with it mentally for quite a long time, and I thought we'd perhaps learn a bit more about it or know more about it. I suppose that wasn't really the point of the story, but I thought there was a bit more meat there we could have had, a bit more meat.
Kicks off the Riser arc with the sort of awkward cold open for the episode where T'Pol's like, everybody on the ship's a bit sexually frustrated. We should all go to Riser, which is, like, hey, it's Enterprise is doing its thing in that regard. I'm just beaming in from the future to acknowledge that actually this was the cold open to Fallen Hero, not Vox Sola, but my point stands.
And by the end of the episode, Archer was covered in alien goo. So I guess something happened.
Everybody had a good time. I will say this episode has the candidate for me for worst production design element, which is, I'll never get over this every time I watch it, when Archer and Trip are watching the water polo. They have the 2 tiniest little glasses of beer, and then the biggest bowl of pretzels you ever saw. 2 people, and it's like, no, flip that around, big beers, small pretzels. It's so weird every time. They've got these tiny little thimbles of beer. They have so many pretzels.
I did notice the tiny little beers. I was like, well, maybe that's like rations. Like they've only got, they're away for years. So they can't just be fermenting beer down in one of the cargo bays.
Well, you know what's not being rationed? Pretzels, because that was like a 25-person bowl of pretzels right there. This one's a 3 for me. It's like, I enjoy the force field stuff, but it is a little bit like, well, guys, if you do too much of this, you sort of have abandoned the, like, prequel premise. Because over the course of now 20 episodes, you've done the transporter. Everybody's comfortable with the transporter now. Like, you sort of dropped that pretty quickly. You've done phasers because of the phase cannons that were installed in Silent Enemy.
Yeah.
And now you've got working force fields. It's like, we were sort of watching this show to sort of see it, like, how it was before any of this stuff existed. And in 21 episodes, you have sort of put back 3 of those big pieces.
The main event, though, of the NX-01 is the grapplers. So that's the main event.
Of course, yes.
The physicality of shooting out into space, where presumably these ships are literally thousands of kilometers away, firing out these magnets.
As long as they don't invent a tractor beam throughout the whole duration of Enterprise, that will be the final straw.
Impossible. Never will happen.
Fallen Hero. Archer is ordered to transport Vulcan Ambassador Valar from the planet Mazar, where she has been accused of criminal misconduct. Following an attack on Enterprise, T'Pol defends the ambassador and asks Archer for help. So this is the episode where Enterprise is sent to pick up this Vulcan ambassador. They're expecting this Vulcan ambassador will be a dick, just like every other Vulcan they've met in the whole series. And they meet this Vulcan ambassador ambassador, and she immediately reaches out to shake Archer's hand and is just this like extremely warm, wonderful personality. But she's also been accused of a crime on Mazar, and she won't tell Archer why. And the Mazarites are trying to like hunt down Enterprise to take her. And Archer's like, I'm not going to put my crew at risk, so I'm going to take her back to Mazar. And then T'Pol like gets Valar to open up, and then she goes to Archer and says, please, I need you to trust me, and like, you know, we need to save the ambassador. And so Archer's like, okay, I'll trust you. They go to Warp 5 for the first time, and then a Vulcan ship swoops in and saves the day, and Valar is saved and is then able to like, you know, testify at trial against the evil Mazarites who have taken over the government
for what the crimes they committed.
Exactly.
I thought this was a bit of a strange episode, which never quite got off the ground for me. I kept waiting for the big reveal that would explain why everyone was doing everything. Like, what were the Mazarites, what were they doing, the Mazarites? They were just committing crimes, sort of unspecified crimes. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I sort of wondered why no one could be told about that sort of early on. It seems like that's normal, you know, if people are committing crimes, that's sort of normal business, isn't it? We sort of acknowledge crimes and try and do something about them. And then I wouldn't know why Valar was such like a distinct Vulcan personality. Like, wow, she seems great. What do we find out about her? Well, not really anything about Valar very much. Just that she's obviously been around the block. She's a bit more relaxed than the other Vulcans. She remembered T'Pol, even though T'Pol didn't think she would remember her. But I didn't really get the idea of, you know, what happened to her that made her think, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm not just going to be your sort of typically staid Vulcan and just do what Vulcans do. So I was sort of always waiting for that reveal, that moment, and it doesn't come. I sort of felt like it was the first half of an episode, and I was waiting for the real meat of an episode.
So what do you give it?
I gave it a 2.5 because I did like Valar, so she squeezed an extra 0.5 out of it.
I have a completely different opinion of this episode. This is probably across the first 5 episodes of Warp Factor 5, the biggest divergence in opinions between an episode. And I'm on an island with this episode. I'm going to acknowledge that I think most people probably feel more like you do about Fallen Hero than like I do about Fallen Hero.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first Warp Factor 5.0 rating. I love Fallen Hero. I love this episode so much. I love everything about it. I spent the whole episode being like, I still love this episode. Is it a 4.5? Is it a 5? It's a 5. This is my first Warp Factor 5.
I feel honored.
But it's also one that you're like, why the hell did you pick that?
Yeah, I'm really I'm really waiting for this big. I'm waiting for the big reveal, Alex. I'm waiting for the big reveal.
So here's why I this episode for me is like all of the particular like ingredients of Star Trek that just sort of like soothes my brain. So there's a few things about it. Number one, it's a ship-bound bottle episode. Number two, you have the sonorous tones of David Bell Star Trek music. Bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. You know, it's like it is like such like late 90s, early 2000s Star Trek. But the thing for me that I really love about this episode is it's the first episode where the Vulcan thing of Enterprise is really locking in as a story choice and like a thing that is going to be explained later. Because I remember watching, you know, Enterprise Season 1 when it was first on, and sort of having this feeling that a lot of fans were having at the time that was like, why are the Vulcans such dicks, right? Like, why are you making this choice? I mean, you're making this choice for the conflict of it, but I'm not seeing the connections between these Vulcans and the Vulcans I thought I knew. And Fallen Hero is the first episode where the show kind of says to you very definitively, this is our creative choice that we have made, because here's the Vulcan you thought you knew. Right? Here's Spock. I think Valar's a great character because she is the first Vulcan you meet who is like Spock and Tuvok and like all of these like good Vulcans that you've met, and not just a complete asshole like all the other Vulcans you've met thus far in Enterprise. And so I really like that. Like, and then I really like the stuff between Valar and T'Pol, and I really like the stuff between T'Pol and Archer, where it's like, because it's all based on the previous 20 episodes of the Vulcans are dicks, I don't like them, maybe I'm beginning to trust you, T'Pol, but I definitely don't like these Vulcans. And now Archer's having his preconceptions like challenged. He's being asked to like put his money where his mouth is in terms of his growing trust into. And then, like, the ship going to Warp 5, the whole, like, go to Warp 5 sequence is really fun, because it's like, you know, it's the Warp 5 engine. You were told it's the Warp 5 engine, and now the ship's going to Warp 5. So, yeah, it's all the stuff on the ship, it's the politics of it, it's the great character stuff. I think Finola Flanagan does an amazing performance as Valar. It's just something about this episode really does it for me, and I know I'm the only person who's going to rate this a 5.0, but that's what it gets for me.
I love the enthusiasm. I'm very excited for you. And the Warp 5, the first time at Warp 5, I didn't give that credit, but I still think, because I do like Valar, and I definitely think she is cooler than either Spock or Tuvok, if we're thinking about Vulcans. She is definitely more relaxed and more together than either of those, because both of those could, if they wanted to, be real dicks sometimes.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Yes. She fits the like Ambassador Spock vibe of the
she's definitely.
Yeah.
But that's it. Somebody who's surrounded themselves with non-Vulcans their entire life, and maybe has not outgrown their sort of Vulcan training to manage their emotions, but sees it more of as a part of the great tapestry of life. Like, I do this, they do that. We can appreciate each other and appreciate the things about each other that are different. It's Iddick, isn't it? It's Iddick. That's the term I'm thinking of, because she's had that time and that space and those connections to do things. And she definitely was cool. So that's, you know, she sort of blew T'Pol away a little bit by being ultra cool. And then she challenged Archer in a way that T'Pol is starting to challenge Archer as well. You see that through this episode. Archer and T'Pol have got their, not love-hate, but annoyance respect, I suppose, relationship going on, and that's gradually developing even over these 5 episodes. So it is nice to see them challenged. I'm still not seeing it as a 5, but it's definitely an episode I might go back and watch again to see if I can get some of these goosebumps that you've been getting.
Fallen Hero, love it. Desert Crossing. Archer and Tucker are invited to a desert-like planet by an alien leader after they help fix his ship. After arriving, they discover he has invited them under false pretenses. Trek Rank's intro music begin playing. This is this is Clancy Brown turning in the most Clancy Brown performance ever as Zobral. This is they go down to the planet and they're wearing the desert uniforms and they play Gascana. And then it turns out that Clancy Brown is like part of like a socialist uprising on the planet, and Archer and Trip have gotten themselves into the middle of a bit of a political situation they didn't think they were going to be in, and then the government attacks them and Archer and Trip have to like get away, and everybody's trying to find Archer and Trip, and they're like trying to survive in the desert, and Clancy Brown's like, I'm here because I want you to help us with our uprising because you're this great leader who saved all these Suliban and detained, and so we really want that. And Archer's like, I'm not the guy you think I am. And they rescue Archer and Trip after having a terrible time in the desert, and everybody goes their separate ways. Ross, what do you think of Desert Crossing?
I really enjoyed Desert Crossing. I mean, in no small part because Clancy Brown plays the weirdest, most gruff-voiced villain slash not villain.
Tell you, Captain, I am easily offended.
Which tapestry do you like? It's yours.
Plasma residue.
Your warp injectors were full of it.
I must be more diligent about routine maintenance.
Unless you enjoy being adrift in the middle of nowhere.
I'm sorry to inconvenience you with something this trivial. Be sure to thank Mr. Tucker for his time.
He wanted me to thank you. It isn't every day he gets to tinker with alien engines. We also found a microfracture on your starboard hull. They're sealing it now.
Your crew is very thorough.
We were glad to help.
Do you answer every distress call you pick up?
if we can.
The galaxy could use more people like you. Tomorrow, you'll join me in my home. Bring Commander Tucker. I'll prepare a meal in your honor. It's the least I can do to show my gratitude.
That's very generous, but I promised my crew a trip to Ryzen.
That can wait one more day, can't it?
If I put them off much longer, I'm gonna have a mutiny on my hands.
There's going to be a Giscana match. I doubt you've ever seen anything like it.
Giscana?
Yes, you might want to participate, assuming you enjoy competition. I should warn you, Captain. I am easily offended.
Send me the coordinates. I'll break the news to my crew.
Dress for warm weather.
It's a good episode. So it's an enjoyable episode. A lot happens in it. It's very dynamic, especially off the back of Fallen Hero, which has that sort of big ending. But this is persistent all the way through. It's action all the way through, whether it's rescuing someone, whether it is playing a desert sport, whether it is being attacked, whether it's running through the desert. It's action all the way through. Really very enjoyable, like a good solid episode. It has a bit of a maybe getting a new life, politically more relevant now that we're thinking about desert warfare and governments attacking civilians.
Yeah. Probably pretty relevant for 2002 as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird that we're in that sort of cycle where it's like, oh, I can see some parallels between real life and people reaching out for assistance and not knowing really what's going to happen. I did sort of think, why aren't we playing Giscana at conventions? I feel like that is an obvious sport. There should be some Giscana pillars.
I'll take my shirt off, Ross, if you will.
Yeah, no, let's go for it. Give me one of those paddles and I'll just flick one of those little things through. I thought that looks like a great fun time. You know, if they're playing Quidditch at Harry Potter events, why aren't we playing Giscana? What else did I think? Yeah, of course, the Trek Ranks theme. That was a solid one. And I did think that Tucker did a really solid desert dehydration. You know, he was nicely crazy. He went nicely mad, and Archie did a good job looking after him. So I thought it was pretty good. I gave this a 3. I gave this a 3.5. It's an enjoyable one.
We're on the same page with Desert Crossing. I'm also a 3.5 for this one. Very enjoyable episode. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of the, 2 crew members has to survive in a hostile environment episode. It just doesn't quite do it for me in the same way as, the ship is being chased and the action all happens on the bridge, like in the previous episode. But all of this is, the Clancy Brown performance, Giscana, the meal, the essence of the mail, oh my
God,
T'Pol having to,
seasoned and chopped.
T'Pol having to sort of coordinate across everybody, and then actually the survival part is really well done. Sometimes you watch these episodes, if it's not a particularly good one, and you're like, I don't buy it, right? You're playing cold, but you seem warm, or you're playing thirsty, but you seem well fed. They seem like they're having a terrible time.
Come on. We gotta keep moving. Come on. My shift doesn't begin for another 6 hours. We're almost there. Where? Where are we going? Nice little place, I know. Plenty of shade. Are there blankets down there? Huh? I'm freezing.
Heat exhaustion.
Here. Come here. Here. There you go. Easy. Yeah, take mine. Go ahead. No, sir. I won't take another man's water. You drink it, that's an order. You gotta keep moving.
Take the water or I'll knock you on your ass and pour it down your throat.
Thanks.
even at the end, at the very last scene, Archer looks very red.
Yes,
he looks like he's been
love
sunburned.
that. Yes. Yeah, and that's a great Enterprise thing because in any of the 24th century shows, they would have picked them up, and then the next scene, after they'd had a light waved over them, they would have been back to pristine, condition in pressed uniform. But yeah, like Archer, like full on sunburn, like looking with the chapped lips still, like looking really rough. Like it's a great little touch for that, we're not at the point where we can fix these things quite as quickly and easily as we can in the 24th century.
And nice as well that they're doing what other episodes do, especially Enterprise, which is link back tidbits to previous episodes. So like they're linking back to the prison escape. Was it what were the species? The Tandarans, were they?
Yes, the Tandarans.
What was the Tandarans? Yeah, linking back to there. They didn't have to do that. They could have said anything. Oh, we've heard about a major ship coming through. They could have said anything. But nice to link it back to like, oh, yeah. I remember that happened. It's good. It builds that, extends that world without making it, you don't have to connect these two episodes. But they've just got that tiny little thread, which it's nice. I like that. That's how I like my Star Trek. Connected, but not absolutely tied up together.
Yeah. And then this is part 3 of the Riser arc because they are on the way to Riser still. They keep getting sidetracked. They decided to go there and they got sidetracked because of the Valar mission in Fallen Hero. Then they rescue Zabral and get sidetracked again, even though Archer's like, I gotta get to Riser. And that's when I should warn you, Captain, I am easily offended. What happens? So oh boy, the payoff to this Riser arc. It better be worth it after 3 episodes of build-up, right?
It's gonna be amazing. I cannot wait to get to Riser.
Captain's personal log, February 18th, 2152. It took a while, but we finally made it to Riser. With any luck, this will be my last log entry for the next 2 days.
2 days and 2 nights, the crew takes shore leave on the famous pleasure planet of Riser. For many, it is anything but a vacation. So this episode has 4 distinct stories in it. Archer, who meets this age-appropriate woman with the other dog, who turns out to be a Tandaran spy who's trying to get information from him about the Suliban. Hoshi, who has a wonderful time getting to know somebody from a planet that has a very complex language and really enjoys her Riser vacation. Trip and Reed, who go on a boys' night out and get mugged and then spend the rest of their vacation pretty much tied up in a basement. And then Mayweather, who goes rock climbing, breaks his leg, has to go up to the ship. They've given him some kind of medical compound he's allergic to. So Phlox, who's in his annual hibernation, has to be woken up to treat Mayweather. Ross, how does 2 days and 2 nights work for you?
I'm going to give you I've done exactly the same as you, though I've described the episode slightly differently. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
The anthology episode of everyone getting their separate and largely unrelated tales set on or in the orbit of Riser. Reed and Tucker channel the in-betweeners and get catfished. Archer is targeted by a Tandaran agent. Mayweather breaks his leg. Hoshi sleeps with a linguist. DePaul wakes up Phlox from a coma. There you go. There are all the things that happen.
Yep, that's the whole episode.
I don't know. This episode has a terrible. It has a bad rap, doesn't it? Of being a bad episode, and it's not a great episode. Like there's, Although I went into it, I think maybe it's the rewatch mindset when you're just like, I'm going to watch more Star Trek. Once we'd gotten to Riser, I was quite excited to be on Riser. I'd forgotten how much I thought this episode wasn't very good, and I sort of went into it like, oh well, they had a holiday. They all seemed to have a good time at the end of it. No one was that bothered by what happened, it seemed. Although I thought Reed and Tucker could be potentially quite traumatised. They seemed to laugh it off. I did think their storyline was very awkward to watch, especially in the early moments. So like this wouldn't fly nowadays. You wouldn't be making these kind of jokes
very
nowadays.
puerile.
It's very, and maybe there's a place for that in some shows, but and maybe there's a place for that in, like the human experience. Sometimes people act like that, and these are 2 of the people who we know who are just happening to act like that at the time.
Malcolm.
Well, supposedly Riser's very cosmopolitan. There are species visiting from all over.
Malcolm and I plan to, broaden our cultural horizons.
Is that all you 2 think about? Well, how we choose to relax is our own business.
You watch yourselves, too.
I thought the relationship between Archer and Kayla, I think her name was Kayla, it seemed... I mean, obviously it was also a catfish situation, but she was a Tandaran agent. Their relationship seemed very strange, but of course it was very strange, I suppose. Maybe I'd give the writer some credit for that. And the whole Hoshi, I mean, I suppose just gives Hoshi something to do in this episode. Just have a chat.
She has a great time.
She does. She's the only one who has a genuinely good time on this holiday.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sleep well?
Very.
Any thoughts about what you'd like to do today? Risa has a lot to offer.
I could spend the entire day right here. But I'm afraid the shuttle's coming to pick me up in a few hours.
Not a very long vacation.
2 days and 2 nights. That's all we had.
I hope you don't think that I...
Took advantage of me? Not for a minute.
So that's, I suppose, nice to see.
I will say, the Flock stuff is all pure gold for me. Like, the episode is worth watching just for John Billingsley's performance from the moment he's woken up until the moment he's finished treating Mayweather.
It is by far the funniest thing I've seen this month. I was literally laughing out loud. It was so good. And also forgotten how good it was. It was so good. He has got the best... I mean, it's weird. His range as Phlox is huge.
Yeah.
He can go from 2 episodes ago, I refuse to torture this potentially sentient life form. I refuse to put my patient at risk by telling you by stopping the scanner she's in. And now he's literally semi-drunk, performing, a little bit. Captain, get the captain needs this. It was great. He was so good in this. We could have done another 10 minutes of this.
Oh, easily. Easily.
I could have done 10 minutes more of that.
Snip out one of the other storylines just to get more of this would have been fine with me.
What seems to be the trouble, Captain?
It's Travis, Doctor.
He's having some kind of anaphylactic reaction.
Incredible.
What?
I've been standing up for almost 5 minutes.
Doctor.
Oh, hand me that scanner, Captain. Ah, yes. It's definitely been caused by an antigenic compound in his system. We'll need Regulin bloodworms.
What?
They're excellent at filtering toxins.
Which container are they in?
No, fresh ones would be better. Set a course for Regulus. Maximum warp.
Doctor, I think this was a mistake. You should return to your quarters.
Oh, well, I appreciate the offer, but it would be best to keep our relationship professional.
Oh, let's go, Doctor.
I am the chief medical officer on this ship. And I am going to treat Ensign Mayweather. And then I'm going back to bed.
I think the Reed and Tucker storyline could have been really narrowed down.
Yeah.
Just meet the girls and have them go, you guys are idiots, and then just leave them.
Exactly.
That'd be enough.
Yeah, right.
There was no need for them to be aliens.
Wait, so what's your warp factor rating?
I'm positively giving this a 2.
A 2. I'm slightly higher. I'm at a 2.5. Purely for the Phlox Mayweather stuff. Yeah, the Reed and Tucker stuff is just kind of dumb. I mean, they're awful, sort of loungewear suits that they're wearing and the way they're talking. It is really funny because, again, Jen and I had a long conversation in Shuttlepod 1 about the characterization of Reed, because in that block we had both Silent Enemy, where he is the, completely buttoned up, totally reserved, you know, like English stereotype dork that you can possibly imagine. And then in Shuttlepod 1, there's all these women that he supposedly was with, but it's like it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel true to the character based on what they've sort of set up in Silent Enemy. And 2 Days and 2 Nights is the Shuttlepod 1 version of Reed. It's definitely not the Silent Enemy version of Reed, but for me, the Silent Enemy version of Reed is Reed. He is just a dork, and so, like, I think Tucker probably is a bit of a ladies' man, but like Reed isn't, and it elevates the awkwardness factor of that whole set of interactions.
So Tucker is definitely a ladies' man.
Yes.
So we don't need to we could just drill under that. That's fine. I think the two different Reeds are the same Reed. So Reed is buttoned up because he knows as soon as he opens his mouth, he's going to say the weirdest, stupidest stuff. And that's part of the reason he has to be the way he is. Because he knows, like, I know my job, and I know what to do in these situations, but in any other situation, if I say anything, I'm going to look like a real Wally. And he definitely felt that in this episode, because he looked really awkward. He didn't know what he was saying. And I do, you know, from a sort of... I don't know a modern perspective. It's a weird conversation to watch, but you could definitely think I definitely have been around those conversations when they've happened in real life.
100%.
I've heard people say them, and I can appreciate what they are. If that's the character they're trying to portray, if they're trying to portray him as an oddball who really does not know his arse from his elbow when it comes to socialising, well, that worked there. But I feel like, I suppose, we would like to think our best and brightest who are flying off to the stars to represent us as ambassadors for humanity probably would be able to string a sentence together, act diplomatically, and impress people with their intellect and their wit, rather than just, I don't know, whatever it was he was saying.
Yeah. I mean, you were in uni at this time. I was in uni beginning in 2005. We have both been in situations where people around us have been behaving that way and saying things like that. So it's like, it's not like it's not true to life.
Yeah, look, and that's it. It's the in-betweeners. I don't know whether this fly with an American audience, but the in-betweeners... I watched that, and it's horribly awkward, but I recognised every single character. I recognised every single person as a person I would know. And it's just awful, because the horrible and stupid things they say and do are real, and this could be real, but doesn't, you know, Star Trek doesn't have to strive for realism.
Yeah.
It can do something else.
For those who are listening who haven't seen The In-Betweeners, it is a British show about what it is like to be a teenager and all of the sort of, like, you know, social dynamics and sexual awakening and like all those different pieces, but really focused on, and I can say this because I fit well and truly within this category, the losers, right? Like, you know, it's like, if you're a loser in school and you're a loser who's a teenager, this is what the teenage loser experience is like. And that's The In-Betweeners. And it's like, and that's Reed and Tucker in this episode. And it's like, I you know, like I've obviously seen all of The In-Betweeners. Not a show I revisit because it's not a period of life I particularly enjoy revisiting.
No.
But it's like, I don't want that on Star Trek as well. And the thing about The In-Betweeners is it knows what it's doing. Star Trek doesn't know that that's what it's doing, and that makes
that's the difference. In-Betweeners is intentional, and here I'm not sure exactly what they were going for, but it just felt really inauthentic and awkward. So.
Oh boy.
No, don't say oh boy. Don't say that till the end of Shockwave. End of Shockwave Part 1.
Oh yeah, right.
Then you say oh boy.
Shockwave Part 1. After apparently causing the destruction of an alien colony, the Enterprise is called back to Earth. Archer learns via Daniels that the Suliban are trying to sabotage Enterprise's mission. So this is the one where they show up at this planet with this mining colony, and you have to be very careful when you're going through the atmosphere, because if you don't lock off your plasma vents at a certain point, you could ignite the atmosphere. And so the shuttle pod's heading down, and it ignites the atmosphere, and everybody dies. And Archer feels terrible about it because, you know, they killed like 3,000 people on the Paragon colony. And so he then owns up to Earth that this thing has happened, and they recall Enterprise, and there's this sense that, like, the sort of human spaceflight mission is going to be put on ice for 10 to 20 years Archers because of this massive mistake that everybody has made. But then it turns out this is actually part of the Temporal Cold War, and the Suliban are the ones who've done it to Enterprise because they're trying to change history. And Daniels tells Archer this by taking him back in time to the day before the inspection pod scene in Broken Bow. And then he comes back to the future and he's like, I'm not actually a huge screw up. And so then they go and they get the evidence from the Suliban, and they're about to get that evidence back to Earth when the Suliban show up, and it's like, if you don't turn yourself over, we're going to destroy Enterprise. And Archer's like, okay, I'll turn myself over. He gets on a turbo lift, and Silik's like, where's Archer? And you don't know where Archer is. And then the last scene of the episode, he's in the far future, but it's actually like a post-apocalyptic bombed out far future. And Daniel shows up and is like, none of this was supposed to happen. Something has seriously gone wrong. To be continued. Ross, what do you think of Shockwave Part 1?
I really enjoyed it. It was 50% sci-fi espionage, 50% time travel thriller, and they sort of meshed together in various ways. It wasn't a perfect meshing of those two concepts, but first of all, the catastrophe at the very beginning, the explosion of the Pragan colony, they really they talk about the colony a lot, and then so when it actually explodes, you actually do feel like, oh shit, this is a sense of loss. They've messed this up. This is bad. This is bad. And then while they are accepting responsibility for it, I thought Archer's portrayal is just great. He really exudes, I feel the guilt. I feel the sense of responsibility that we have messed this up. Even Reed's face, when he said, I closed them. You can see the panic and the distress, is there any way I could have messed this up and I've killed all these people? That was really well done. The whole, then, the time travel, suddenly Daniels pops up and there's he doesn't pop up. Archer pops back. He leaps back to Earth.
He quantum leaps into himself.
He quantum leaps into himself. It's good. It's good. And then he phones up. I like the bit where he phones the interspecies medical exchange to see if Phlox is there. So he knows something about the future, which he didn't know at the time. That was cool. And then Daniels is there. And then if you haven't followed Enterprise, this will be a confusing episode.
Totally.
You would need to know who Daniels is, what the Temporal Cold War is, what's going on, because they've really haven't mentioned it at all in the previous 4 episodes.
Right.
It's not come up at all.
Too busy with the Riser arc.
Exactly, which, solidly concluded. So it was great. I just thought it was great. It's very fast paced. Lots of stuff happens, and there's the time travel bit, another espionage bit where they board the Suliban vessel and they use all of Archer's newfound technical expertise to make sure it's a successful mission. And then just when they think they've succeeded and they're getting away from it, there's a future guy intervention and Silik comes back, and it is a great ending. The whole bit with all the little helixes, the little Suliban vessels surrounding the Enterprise, and Archer's just weird disappearance. That's great. That is a great ending. Yeah. And then to be in this apocalyptic wasteland and to see the look on Daniel's face I can't get us out of here. We are stuck. All the time portals are gone. This isn't supposed to be like this. That's great. That's you must watch it.
What rating do you give it?
I gave it a solid 4.
A solid 4. I'm also at a solid 4. This is great. And it's great. There's so many really nice themes that this episode picks up and furthers. Obviously, the stuff you were just talking about, right? The Daniel stuff from Cold Front and the return to Broken Bow. But also Archer's sense of, a little beneath the surface is this sense that, maybe we're not supposed to be out here. You see that pop up in Silent Enemy, and then you see that pop up again here, where he's he feels really terrible about what's happening. The scene where he's scrolling through the faces and the names of the colonists. That whole set of scenes is really uncomfortable because
it's really awful.
We've all been in a position in our life where we've made a huge mistake because of carelessness or whatever. But just that sort of feeling of, I just want nothing more in this moment than to be able to dial things back, however long I have to dial it back, and just change one choice, and not to be in this situation that I'm in right now, but I am, and I have to deal with the consequences. Everybody knows that feeling, and they play it so well.
It's really well done. It's really well done.
And then that sort of huge moment of relief when it's Okay, yeah, they're still dead. But it's not your fault, right? Like, you didn't do this. You're a pawn in somebody else's game. I love the going back in time scene. Archer's like, I don't know if he's in a hotel room or if that's his like apartment. The whole vibe of it is amazing.
Yeah.
The sort of espionage thriller bit where they go aboard the Suliban Helix is great.
That was great. And that was really well done as well, because I immediately thought, because they said, oh, there should only be 20 Suliban. I was like, 20 Suliban? There's 3 of you. Like,
Right.
You're not going to fit more people in that shuttle?
Right.
They'd figured out what they were going to do. They had a plan, and actually watching it all like pop, and they figured it all out, and it all worked. Like, it was all clockwork, because Archer knew what was going to happen. He already had like a plan, so it worked nicely.
I love that trope. I love that trope where he comes back from having a conversation in the past and is like, I have all this information in my head, and I'm not really going to explain to you where it came from. I'm just going to hand out orders to my crew for them to go and do all of this stuff. And then all these things happen the way they're supposed to. I just love that trope in Star Trek. It happens a few times. So, and the cliffhanger is great. And like, this is the real, this is, for me, like, I love the temporal Cold War. Yes, as I've acknowledged in previous episodes, like, its resolution is not super satisfying, but like here in the not really the beginning of it, but like you're nowhere close to the middle of it, and certainly nowhere close to the end of it. It's like, this is cool. I'm really enjoying this, right? Like, wow, Archer's in the 31st century. I looked it up. 15 years before the burn is the year that he was, obviously it was an alternate future, but that was the year he was transported to.
That's very interesting, actually. And actually, with the temporal Cold War does get picked up. It gets picked up by Discovery in the 32nd century, and I like that. And I wondered if there would be more of a resolution of the temporal Cold War, like a reveal as to who Future Guy was. Now, we never got that reveal, and I was always chomping at the bit. I ask you this, Alex: if one character in Star Trek is Future Guy, who is it? Who is Future Guy?
You mean an existing character?
Yeah. Who is it we already know is Future Guy?
Oh, obviously my mind automatically goes to Brannon Braga having said in the last couple of years that, they were planning for it to be Archer, which I don't buy and I think is a terrible choice, personally.
I could see them doing that, though. I can see
them doing it. I can't see myself liking that. Mirror Archer. That I would be on board with.
Mirror Archer. All right, that's not bad.
Yeah.
In my head, it's always Boimler. It's Boimler. He's somehow gone through that Pantera portal again, and he's like, oh my god, everything's messed. Oh my god, and he's there, just put it on, fake it. Send him to me. It's like, oh god, he's gonna bring him. He's gonna die.
No, it's Lieutenant Barnaby from Descent Part 2. This is the same actor. For those of you who aren't as brain poisoned as I am, it's James Horan.
Lieutenant, is there any way we can use the planet as a barrier to keep the Borg from realizing we're in orbit?
We can interorbit while they're on the far side of the planet. And if we delay dropping out of warp until the last possible instant, we could gain a few more seconds.
If your calculations are even slightly off, we'd hit the atmosphere.
I'll just have to be sure my calculations are accurate, Ensign.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Barnaby is so offended that a woman upstages him on the bridge of the Enterprise D that he lives for another 800 years and, tries to screw with the creation of the Federation.
Yeah, I do love the temporal Cold War, and I regret they didn't really follow it through. I guess it wasn't popular, or it wasn't grabbing people as much. I was really into it. I really liked the idea of the temporal, and I absolutely love the Suliban as villains. I always thrilled to see them. I was disappointed they sort of got a short shrift in the later seasons.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were absolutely epic villains. I loved their design. I loved their look. I loved their superpowers. I loved Silic. I thought he was a great villain. I honestly thought the Sulibans could have been one of the greats. I thought they could have been up there with the Romulans and the Klingons. I wish we got more of them.
The trial never ended, Captain. We never reached a verdict. But now we have. You're guilty.
All right, so looking across our episode ratings, here's the ranking of these 5 episodes from worst to best. Best episode of the lot. Shockwave Part 1, we both gave it a 4, so average is a 4. Number 2 on the list, because of me, is Fallen Hero. I gave it a 5, you gave it a 2.5, average is 3.75.
I think it should be falling down the ranks. Yeah.
Then Desert Crossing, we both gave it a 3.5, average is a 3.5. Vox Sola, I gave it a 3, you gave it a 3.5, average is 3.25. And then worst of this pack of episodes, 2 days and 2 nights, I gave it a 2.5, you gave it a 2 for an average of 2.25. That means that my overall average is a 3.6, your overall average is a 3.1, and the average of our averages is a 3.35. That means that this is the second highest scoring block of episodes from Enterprise Season 1, bested only by Silent Enemy, Dear Doctor, Sleeping Dogs, Shadows of a Gem, and Shuttlepod 1, which Jen and I gave an average rating of 4.05.
I mean, that is an epic 5 episode.
That is an
series,
epic
though.
5 episode.
There's a lot of good in that series.
Yeah, and followed closely along behind by The Andorian Incident, Breaking the Ice, Civilization, Fortunate Son, and Cold Front, which Bill, Mann, and I gave an average rating of 3.2. So, yeah, that feels right to me. There's a lot of solid episodes in the last 5 here.
They're good episodes. And actually, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was great to watch. Sometimes you think, I've got to do my homework and watch these episodes, but it was completely lovely to watch them all. And I'm chomping at the bit now to watch Shockwave Part 2.
Performance reviews will be held tomorrow, starting at 0800 hours in the wardroom. Check your team leaders for the schedule. Dismissed.
All right, next we will discuss some of the things we enjoyed most across this block of episodes. Collectively, we'll each pick a best series regular performance, best guest performance, best production design, best quiet moment, and best loud moment. So, Ross, what is your pick for best series regular performance from this block of episodes?
Okay, I think this was the hardest thing for me to think about for all of the things, all of the ratings and all the other things, because I did feel like a lot of the episodes I felt like there was a lot of stiff acting in some of these episodes, whether that because they're playing aliens or it was a weird situation. There was a lot, quite stiff. I did think Bakula's portrayal of Archer after the Paragon explosion was excellent. Like, really, really good. I had empathy for his character. I could feel how bad he felt. And same for Reed. I felt like I could feel how distressed they were. So they were good. I also really enjoyed, in the same sort of mix of scenes right there, T'Pol trying to give Archer a boost and say, look, I'm not going to, you shouldn't let this go. I'm not going to let this go. And I thought that's as much as you're ever going to get for a Vulcan to say, I trust you, I believe in you, I have faith in you. I'm going to put my neck on the line to support you carrying on this mission. I thought that was really powerful. I really enjoyed that. However, my best series regular moment, I think, if we're not going to go for the sort of the funny Phlox moments, which I did really enjoy.
I mean, that's a valid pick if ever there was one.
It's good, but I really did enjoy Trip and Archer in the desert. And them being lost in the desert, when they find that sort of that ruined hut and there's water, and just Archer trying to just keep Tucker going, just keep him moving, keep him going, don't fall asleep, don't go, because that could have been a much shorter scene, but actually it really went on for quite a long time while T'Pol and the council, the government are trying to find out where they are.
And they're playing geography
for a long time. They're playing geography, and I absolutely love the fact they went through the rules. And then the very first thing that Tucker picks is Dralax.
Yeah, right.
And Dutch like, Dralax. I thought that was really funny and like a weird moment of levity in quite a serious situation. And then he picks Xanadu, and then they talk about whether that's legitimate because it's not a real place. And I thought that bit was really, really nice. It'd been really hard watching Tucker sort of deteriorate, like collapsing in the desert. I won't drink another man's water. And then, really like that's the kind of thing you see in a war movie, when someone's about to die. I really liked that camaraderie between them. I liked how difficult it was. I liked that Archer was looking out for him and doing it in the best way he could. I liked the fact they had to drink that horrible water that he boiled. I just thought that whole bit was really well done. And I thought, you know what, this could have been longer, and there could have been a film in here, and all the difficulties they go through. But I really enjoyed that bit. So for me, series regular is Bakula and Trenier for that bit.
What'd you do? Rub two sticks together?
I found a new use for the stun setting.
It may not taste too good, but I think I boiled away anything that can hurt us.
No, thanks. I'm not thirsty.
Let's not get into that argument again.
Worse than blood soup.
You need water.
What I need is sleep.
You got a fever, Trip. Your heart's racing. You got all the symptoms of heat stroke. If you fall asleep, you could lapse into a coma.
A coma? That sounds nice.
When we get back to Enterprise, you can sleep all you want. But right now, you gotta stay with me and drink this water. If I had a needle, I'd give it to you intravenously, but I don't. Come on, sit up. There you go. Good. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Matter. The warp reactor. Break it down for me.
What?
What are the 8 major components?
You gotta be kidding me.
Name them. That's an order.
Well, there's the drumsticks. Thighs. Wings. You got anything to eat around here?
Not at the moment. But when we get back to Enterprise, I'll have Chef make you dinner you'll never forget. What would you like? Anything.
Not snake meat.
No. Chef doesn't do snake very well. Tell me what you want.
Prime rib.
Okay. What else?
Mashed potatoes. With mushroom gravy. The kind he makes on Wednesday nights.
No problem. What kind of vegetables? Hey, vegetables.
Broccoli.
Dessert?
Pecan pie.
Yeah, and the like brotherly love that exists between these two characters.
That's that military thing again. Like they're in the desert, they're relying on each other, and of course they've been doing that for months out in space and for years before that on Earth. But here it really is just the two of them. The two of them, their destination, and what little water they've got, and I just thought it was great.
Yeah, and Archer like taking care of Trip, and sort of helping him through it. Whether that's, from the perspective of keeping him awake or figuring out how to purify the water. Yeah. And you buy how disgusting it tastes.
Yeah, because he's like the life-giving water you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And then just how he's ordering him on. The only thing I thought was strange was Trip said, do we have to, maybe we should wait till nightfall? And he goes, no, that's 8 hours. Keep on marching through the desert. And I was like, oh my God, I felt hot watching that. Like, God, I don't know I could do 8 hours in the desert marching forward.
Yeah, my runner-up pick for this one is Julian Blaylock in Fallen Hero. Fallen Hero Hero, which if this episode title had not already been used in TNG, it would have been called Hero Worship, because that's really what the episode is about. But I'm going with, you already, sort of teed it up, Scott Bakula in Shockwave Part 1, which we've talked a little bit about already. Like, just, you get a really full arc of the character in this episode. You get the, like, excited explorer Jonathan Archer in the cold open because they're going to meet new people, and then you get this like completely distraught Jonathan Archer who thinks that he's responsible for destroying a planet and massacring all these people, and then you get like confused but figuring it out Quantum Leap Jonathan Archer when he goes back in time, and it's a really nice callback to the pilot, the little conversation he has with Trip. I want to eat at the Space Dock Cafe. Then you go back to Enterprise, and it's Captain Archer in command, and then it's Captain Archer the action hero, and then it's Captain Archer the like, oh boy, what's going on, because he's in the fire. And the Captain Archer who just immediately jumps to, yes, I will sacrifice myself to save my crew, right? And that really nice moment where, he's like, take care of Porthos, T'Pol, you've got the ship, I'm going to go and do this because it's the only choice we have available. And then you get the oh boy moment at the end. I mean, Naive obviously doesn't say oh boy, but like, you get that kind of moment at the end. Like, it's a really, really powerful performance from Scott Bakula that is very much built on all of the episodes of the season leading up to this moment.
A really solid performance from him all the way through, and it's a weird story to carry. Like, it's time travel story. I mean, I suppose of all the actors who might have experienced carrying this kind of story, he'd be the one person who definitely could carry it. But he does it really well. You don't at any point think this is confusing or doesn't make sense. He takes it so seriously. He's so invested in it. It is a solid. The range of emotions he portrays are great. It's just really solidly done. It's a great choice. He's a good choice.
Best guest performance.
Right. There's a lot of guests in these episodes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guests. We get outings for Rostov and Cutler, which is nice to see them. Actually, we see Rostov twice.
Yeah.
I think we might see Cutler twice.
Yep.
We see Cutler twice, which is, we see her at least once.
At least once. She's in 2 Days and 2 Nights.
Yeah, they're great. I like seeing those like extra characters hanging around and doing a little bit of stuff. Daniel's great character choice to pick. He's always there with his weird haircut. I find it very hard not to pick Clancy Brown as Zabral because he's literally Hollywood, he's a big Hollywood dude portraying...
I warn you, Captain, I am easily offended.
What I love is as well, like, they didn't put any makeup on him. Like, oh, we've got this Hollywood A-lister. Let's just make sure everyone knows who he is. Just a little tattoo.
Just a little chin tattoo.
And his voice is just absolutely excellent. All I've got written here is larger than life, and he's very easily offended. The lady who played Kayla, she'd been in a couple of other things as well. Slightly more things than Finola Flanagan. She was Dr. Tainer, Data's mother.
And also the, like, general's wife in Dax.
Yes! Oh, God, yes. The one he was sleeping with?
The one he was sleeping with, yeah.
Yeah, the one he was sleeping with, yeah. But, actually, I didn't pick any of those guys. I picked Vaughn Armstrong. Because he is...
Hey, Vaughny, his third character this season.
And he plays 2 different characters in this set.
Yeah.
He essentially bookends the show. He's the Gratassan captain at the very beginning of Vox Sola, and he's Admiral Forrest towards the end of Shockwave Part 1. And he's great as obviously Admiral Forrest is obviously a character whom we respect and we love, and we're sad to see him go. But as the Gratassan captain, I thought he was hilarious. I liked the faux outrage, or the real outrage, I suppose. It was genuinely real. I liked the confusion of what's going on. I liked the whole Voyager of it. I could just see Janeway and Neelix having that exact same conversation as an alien storms out of Voyager.
Yeah.
And then the fact
Macrocosm, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's the very similar plotline. And then the fact that later on he asks May whether to apologise. I was like, that's I don't know. It seems like if you're going to travel in space, you might meet people with different sort of cultural affectations, things that they do or don't do. And then I was briefly reminded of that horrible short trek where they have all the bogies on the wall. The very short trek.
Very short trek.
Very short trek.
Yes.
Where I thought, I wonder how they'll deal with this. And I was like, I'll just be silly about it. It's just going to be silly. So I gave my best guess to Vaughn Armstrong for the Cretacean captain, who was unpleasantly obliged to watch somebody eat, presumably, a large bowl of pretzels.
You hailed us?
You speak English?
We studied your database. It wasn't difficult.
Okay. We have a problem.
Yes.
There's an alien organism on our ship.
Yes?
It came aboard around the same time we saw you. We were hoping you might know something about it.
Describe this organism.
Well, it's big, but it didn't start out that way. It's like a large mass of tendrils.
Tendrils?
Like a giant web, but it moves and grows.
We have seen this.
Where?
On its homeworld. Perhaps it attached itself to our ship. It wasn't our fault.
Can you tell us where this planet is?
Apologize.
Excuse me?
We will send you the coordinates, but first, you must apologize to us for your offense.
That's the thing. We don't know what we did to offend you.
On your ship, you put food in your mouths.
You mean eat?
Yes, eat.
I don't understand.
It is like mating. It is very offensive to us.
We were just eating. How do you eat?
We eat the same way, but not in the presence of others.
I see. Okay? Please believe me. We had no idea that would be offensive to you. It was simply a misunderstanding. On behalf of the entire crew, I sincerely apologize.
Your apology is accepted.
Thank you. Now, could I have those coordinates?
Yes, it is like mating to us, like, I love that moment when Mayweather asks, well, how do you eat? And Vaughn Armstrong's like, the same way, but it doesn't, but we don't do it in front of other people. It's just such a great, and it's Anthony Montgomery, we've spoken already in the show about the sort of quality of his acting, but this is one of those moments where it's like his wide-eyed, sort of youthfulness kind of really leans into the humor of it,
Yeah. I'm really very sorry for this. We truly had no idea.
Yeah. It's maybe still not the best acting on his part, but you know what? It actually, the sort of layer that it adds is, I don't think this is what the actor intends, but because it feels a little forced, because everything Mayweather feels a little forced, there is an element of, this is the stupidest thing to have to apologize for, but gee willikers, I'm going to do my best to make you feel like you've been apologized to.
And then how it wasn't really that big a deal is because he goes, oh, all right then.
Yeah.
And that's it. He's like, thank you for apologising. Yeah. All's well. And you think, well, we could have cleared that up. Did this need to be a diplomatic incident? Can we not have cleared this up? Perhaps with a memo just beforehand. Just FYI, we know that some species like to eat. We don't like to eat. Well, we do, but we do it in private.
Well, it turns out the next time you screw up with the Cretaceans, you then have to, like, do ritualistic, chainsawing of trees. So
yeah, that's in the next run of 5, isn't it?
I believe it might be, yes. My pick is, how could it be anybody else other than Fionnuala Flanagan as Ambassador Valar? I mean, I think, like, part of the reason the episode is a 5.0 for me is because of her performance, which I just think is really great. She sort of plays that, like, kindly, warm Vulcan who's very wise really well. Like, the moment she comes on board and, like, reaches out to shake Archer's hand, and then they've done this whole thing, where, like, T'Pol's kicking Hoshi out of her quarters and is like, take everything. And then Valar's like, oh, who is it who, like, had my quarters? And T'Pol's like, oh, of course it smells really bad because you smell really bad. And Valar's like, no, I just want to thank them because I've caused inconvenience to them, and, like, I just want to express my gratitude. And then, like, her sort of really clear feelings of duty and obligation, and then her admitting to T'Pol that, like, young T'Pol had sort of challenged her on something and it had made her rethink some of her positions, which is a very mature thing, like, in a good way, mature thing to do, to sort of admit that someone with youthful arrogance who's sort of hit you with a bunch of points has actually made a good point, and therefore that's made me rethink things. And then the way that, as it looks like Enterprise is not going to make it to the Vulcan ship before the Mazarites catch up, she's just like, all right, I'll take, just like Archer does in Shockwave Part 1, I'll take one for the team. Like, if this is not going to work, I don't want you to put yourself in any more danger. I'm going to hand myself over to them. I just think she's great in this episode.
She's actually the thing I liked the most, it was the sort of flourishing reveal when it turns out she wasn't in the scanner after all.
Yes.
And the door's open and she's there almost like leaning against the wall. Like,
I love it.
I'm here.
Oh, I love it. Yes. I will add this to my testimony at your trial. Boom! Mic drop moments. Good times. Best production design.
Okay. Again, Enterprise is, like, breaking new ground in terms of production design. I as I said, I love the Sulabans and the Helix. Although I know we've seen those all before.
That's right.
We haven't seen the Sulaban cruiser before. I'll come back to this. The Vox Sola Beast, I am still thinking that was decent production design. I don't mind it. I don't mind that it's made of plastic and paper and glue. I'm fine with that. I absolutely loved the battered 31st century Earth. And, like,
that's overlooking. What a great cliffhanger moment.
Just massive, just looking out there. And because you'd had that bit already where Archer was in the city, I think that's probably why they placed him there, so you could look out and see a cityscape and then later on see that cityscape destroyed.
Right.
I really like that. The Enterprise blue underwear, great.
Yeah, of course.
Standard Starfleet underwear.
Calvin Klein, I believe.
Really? I think my favourite bit, and this is not a particularly intelligent choice, but the multiple Sulaban vessels that are, like, half visible with the beams, and they sort of pan up, and there's more vessels there, and they come into view, but they're also sort of flickering in and out of focus. And then the stealth cruiser, when it's in stealth mode, then it sort of comes into visibility, and no one knows it's there. I just thought that was so cool. I just really loved seeing the sort of the flickering, half-cloaked ships that didn't know they were visible to Enterprise's scanners. I thought that was cool as heck.
Love that. Yeah, it really effectively creates this moment of, like, dread, because it's like, oh, they're everywhere. So, like, we're screwed. There's no way out of this.
Yeah, and they're turning the scanners around. You can see more of them appear. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, GoPro really goes menacing. Up, GoPro goes down.
Yeah,
that all around. Yeah, that's a great pick. And yeah, like the cell ships and the, like, bigger ships, like, they are really cool designs, and
they look so good. They're so good.
Contribute to the uniqueness of the Sulaban, which, as you say, I think, is used really well in episodes like this, but wasn't used enough in the show as a whole.
No, these guys could have been huge, I think. I really liked them. The cell ships, the Helix, the look, the skin, and the fact that we'd already seen them in another episode as oppressed. Like, there's diversity here, there's range. This species has a lot going on. We're at war with one aspect of it, but as a species, There's so much going on.
I have mentioned my pick already, which is we're staying on Fallen Hero, and this is the David Bell score for began doing Star Trek music in late Deep Space Nine and did it through late Deep Space Nine, mid to late Voyager, and then did some Enterprise as well. And David Bell has this signature musical thing that he does, which you can hear in Deep Space Nine and in Voyager and in Enterprise, and you hear it in this episode. And this is not the best version of it. The best version of it is in the fight between Gowron and Worf in Tacking Into the Wind, where Worf kills Gowron. And the second other place it shows up really prominently and has done really well is in the Voyager feature-length two-parter Dark Frontier. But David Bell, when he is doing tense action music, it all sounds the same, but it's like bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, it's the same thing every time, but it is chicken soup for my soul, because it's like, I know I'm watching late 90s Star Trek when I hear the bum, ba-dum, 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 and it's just like, oh my god. So, and it shows up in this episode while they're doing the...
I have to say, the soundtrack's always something that just sort of bypassed me.
Sure.
I never
Which was Rick Berman's intention.
Oh, really? Just like to enhance the drama without you ever knowing about it.
Exactly, yeah. So they had Ron Jones score much of early TNG, and Rick Berman had him fired because the music was too noticeable. And so the remit for all of the Star Trek composers throughout the rest of the Berman era was to create what was, I don't know who coined the term, but to create sonic wallpaper. Basically just like music that's there, but you never really notice.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's one of the defining features of the era.
Okay. I've been thinking about getting into some soundtracks and actually going back and listening to some. This is mostly inspired by the musical episode, which I absolutely loved and have had on repeat for years and years, because I think it's great. And that's made me think, maybe I'll enjoy other music, because I feel like when I listen to it now, as soon as I heard the music for Gascana, I was like, oh yeah, it's da 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 da. I knew it. Maybe I just haven't. I've not given it enough of a chance. I enjoy this. I like listening to this. So I might go back and give it a listen.
There is a lot of fun stuff there. When you're just listening to it by itself, not wrapped up in the episode, there is a lot of fun stuff there.
I'll go back and give it a listen.
Best quiet moment.
Okay. I've got two. In Vox Sola at the very beginning, you've got the alien as it creeps on the outside of the Kritathan ship along the connecting bridge, and that's great. And then later on it's crawling through not Jeffrey's tubes but tunnels in the ship, and it's crawling through them, and Hoshi thinks she can hear something going on. And I really like this, because I was like, this is it. They're not just people who do a job. These are the best people at this. People who and her job is to discriminate and interpret sounds and meanings. And she's like, for 10 minutes, something's wrong. There's a weird sound. I can hear a weird sound. There's something here. And everyone's like, they're sort of dismissing her. And there's one point where she's walking down the corridor and she's listening to it. She can hear it. And she's like, no, it's nothing. It's my imagination. But I'm like, no, it's not. You're absolutely right. You should have trusted your gut. There was definitely something there. I loved that bit. I liked her. I liked the creeping alien, and I liked her being intelligent and capable enough to notice it and try and raise this up as an issue.
Does anybody hear that?
What, the static?
Frequency distortions mixed in with the static.
You've got better ears than we do.
It's coming from the comm system.
Have you run a diagnostic?
Twice. Because today is just not my day.
But that's not my main moment of silence.
Okay.
My main is, we've mentioned this already, there is a very long silence after Zabral announces what it is that they are eating. The essence of the male, chopped and seasoned. And then Archer...
Oh, you're going to enjoy this.
Looks delicious. What is it?
Blood soup. I don't usually eat this well, but I promised your captain an exceptional meal.
What are these, little chunks?
The essence of the male, chopped and seasoned.
Beautiful tapestries.
Archer and Tucker, they stop for like a 2 beats too long, and then Archer sort of looks at him, and then they're like, and then he said, I can't remember. Archer says something else, and then there's more silence, and then they bite into it, and it's just so long, but it's so good. It's so good, and then just completely quiet and completely silent. And just a fraction too long. Just a fraction to be really uncomfortable. I really thought that was great.
And then it's like sitting on these little like mortar and pestle spoons and here's a little chunk and Archer puts it in his mouth and it's almost like there's a next moment where he grabs the napkin and does the sort of like, you know, like surreptitiously spit it into the napkin thing.
But they're so worried about offending him because he keeps telling them his catchphrase. I'm very easily offended. So just chowing down on this. Well, the essence of male. I loved it. It was hilarious.
My pick is from Shockwave Part 1, and that is the little moment when T'Pol basically tells Archer to snap out of it. He's like totally down in the dumps and is really blaming himself, and T'Pol's basically like, snap out of it, dude. Like, you know, like, yes, this is a terrible thing that happened, but, you know, like, one, these things happen, and two, you kind of just gotta like be okay with your mistakes and move forward, and that's not necessarily like a reason to just throw in the towel and let the Vulcans walk all over you and cancel, you know, Starfleet's mission of exploration for 10 to 20 years. And it's just this great moment because, you know, these two characters have been developing this relationship all throughout the season. They begin, you know, in Broken Bow pretty at odds with each other, and that, you know, you sort of get to the grudging trust very quickly that happens even by the end of Broken Bow, but that sort of sense of there being a real genuine relationship between the two, this is the block of episodes where that really starts to flourish, and you get that in this great moment, particularly because it's T'Pol who's doing this and not Tucker. You could have swapped out T'Pol for Tucker and kept the dialogue the same, and the scene would have played out, you know, pretty well, but the fact that it comes from T'Pol, who's like, don't listen to what the Vulcans are saying, believe in yourself, makes it really powerful.
I completely agree, because you'd expect Tucker to say that.
Exactly.
Or something like that, because he's got the captain's back always. He's always going to get...
Yes.
But something has happened in the last 10 months that has convinced T'Pol that actually there's more to this than just a mission where she's babysitting a crew of humans. Something important is happening. Something, you know, changing is going on, and she's part of it and she doesn't want it to stop, and that gives it that real power, and it is really nice to hear her say all that stuff.
Best loud moment.
Okay, I got a few of these actually. I'm not sure it's the best loud moment, but the explosion of the Paragon colony is real loud, and it's, you know it's, I mean, they've talked about it so much that you know it's going to happen, and then it's sort of, you know, a deep rumbling explosion followed by a gigantic explosion that throws the shuttle really loud,
it's
really powerful.
Great effect.
It's really good. Mildly offset by Russell Watson's dulcet tones that start, that kick in just seconds later. I enjoyed the Tarathan bombardment of Zobral's camp. I thought that looked great. I didn't enjoy the bombardment. I want to rephrase that. I thought it looked really, really well done. You could see the little figures running around, the missiles firing. It was the setup to the war scene that we got then with Archer and Trip later on. I really liked Tucker arguing that the mission shouldn't be cancelled in Shockwave Part 1. I thought he was really loud and passionate, and he gave that sort of Tucker response to the mission being cancelled and having Archer support. But by far the best loud moment, and it's something we have touched on already, it's a quiet and then loud moment. And it is the moment where in 2 days and 2 nights, where they're about to wake up Phlox. And Cutler is kneeling down next to him, and she's whispering. She's got a hypo spray. Yep. She's like, "Do you think this is a good idea?" And then really loudly, like almost shouting, T'Pol goes, "There's no need to whisper. He's in a serious state of unconsciousness." Just so loud, I burst out laughing. And his Cutler's like, and then they eject him, and it is just chaos. He's
and then he
so
like
loud.
wakes up screaming.
Yeah, he does. He screams, and then he says like the taste of something, and then he's like, "Oh, you've woken me up." It is
Why
so
is it
funny.
Sam Commander?
Yeah.
Well, then call the doctor. You're the doctor. Oh.
But there's just the quietness of Cutler, and then the really enforced loudness of T'Pol's response. It's so good.
I'm not so sure this is a good idea.
There's no need to whisper. He's in a state of deep hibernation.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Did you use the correct dosage?
Phlox?
I don't care what it tastes like.
Wake up, Doctor.
Sub-Commander, has it been 48 hours?
No.
Then why did you wake me?
There's a medical emergency.
Emergency? Then call the doctor.
You're the doctor.
Of course. Who's sick?
Ensign Mayweather.
Who?
Ensign Mayweather, our helmsman.
I know who he is. Where is he?
He's in sick bay.
We're not in sick bay?
We're in your quarters.
Well then. To sick bay! I could use some assistance, please.
Yeah, this whole scene's great. And then the next scene when they're in sickbay is great. But this scene's really great. And it's, and it's like, this is a purely comedic scene. You could have put this scene in Lower Decks and it would have worked just as well, right? Like, especially the end of the scene where he's like, "To sickbay!" and then just collapses on the ground. It's that's such a sitcom moment. But it's great, and it works.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Do you know what? It's amazing that you can make that connection to Lower Decks, because actually this legitimizes a lot of the stuff you see in Lower Decks.
100%. Because
it's the stuff in Lower Decks is crazy, but it's not so crazy in Star Trek as to be completely impossible.
Exactly.
And that's why maybe it has such resonance. It's funny, but it's also, well, it's Star Trek. It's good. But
if you plotted crazy moments in Star Trek, Lower Decks would be at one extreme end, but it doesn't push that extreme end out further than it already is. Because there are a few moments in Star Trek like this one out there as well on that like zany frontier.
Yeah, maybe that's why it still fits. It fits in with what we already know. It's comfortable, and that's what Trekkies love, isn't it? They want comfortable Star Trek that fits what they love.
Fallen Hero 5.0. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you picked that. I love that for loud moment pick. My pick, staying on Fallen Hero, my 5.0 pick. And it's the whole sequence where they go to Warp 5 as far as they can. And Trip's like, "I'm not sure this is a good idea." And Archer's like, "Well, it is called a Warp 5 engine. So, let's do it. Let's go to Warp 5. And, you get the 4.8, 4.9, and then something explodes in engineering and a guy has to run over and douse it with fire extinguisher, and it's clear that it's on paper it's a warp 5 engine, but and then they get to warp 5 and it is this triumphant moment because you haven't seen him do it in the show yet. It's take us to warp 4, warp 4.5, but never warp 5, and they're finally at warp 5. And I do like the sort of tension of it because they are being chased and, they're trying to get away. And this has got the aforementioned David Bell music. And so, it's and everybody is operating at the top of their game, right? Arch is the captain in command. Tripp's making the engine work as well as he can for as long as he can. Mayweather is straight and steady. Reed's got his finger over the phase cannons to shoot at the Mazarites whenever they get a chance. It's just that sort of Star Trek teamwork of we're trying to accomplish this thing and everybody's sort of contributing to it. It's just that for me, it's a really nice sequence. And how could I not, on a show named Warp Factor 5, pick as my top loud moment for this set of episodes a sequence in which it is vitally important that the ship goes not warp 8, not warp 9.95, that it goes warp factor 5. So yes, that's my top loud moment.
I think that's a good choice. And Alex, this is your show. You can pick whatever you like. Exactly. No one's going to say a thing about it. But that is a nice pick, and it is good. It is nice when Archer says it's a warp 5 engine, isn't it? And it's we could have been doing this all along. It's good.
Captain, I've reconfigured our warp field to match the chronometric readings of the Borg sphere.
Recreate the vortex, Commander.
Aye, sir.
All decks report ready.
Helm standing by.
Mr. Data, laying a course for the 24th century. I suspect our future is there waiting for us.
Course laid in, sir.
Make it so.
All right, so looking across these 5 episodes and thinking about the entire Star Trek story, all 965 episodes, what do you think these 5 episodes add to the narrative? How do they connect with other Star Trek? Are they things they set up? Are they things they pay off?
I think, just thinking small, the Ricer arc leads into what we know about Ricer.
Yeah.
Riser. Leads into what we know about it. Nothing happened there that couldn't have happened on the Captain's Holiday or the one with the weather station. I can't remember what it's called. We know a lot about the Riser, so we sort of lead into this.
Yeah.
But really, the big takeaway for this is the ongoing temporal Cold War. There's connections to Star Trek as it's being presented at the time in the series, is ongoing issue, but we also connect to it, 20 years later in a different series, and we have ostensibly the same character coming back in a different form, although we don't know it yet. So that connects largely, and I think that's because the ending of the temporal Cold War was something that lots of people, I think, felt like, well, where is it? Where is the rest of this story? And you've sold us really quite a big idea. The temporal Cold War is actually quite a mind bender. Yeah. And I love that. I love that kind of science fiction. I love that kind of really complicated thinking. And it's always a headache, isn't it, thinking about time travel stuff and having to draw out a map and a line of what the hell is all this? I'm with Janeway. It's too complicated, but it's always interesting. And when you can find those weird loopholes and weird twists, that makes it sort of exciting and clever and new. And we were promised that with the temporal Cold War. And we got it to some extent. We got it in this episode, and we'll get it in later episodes where the temporal Cold War is more played out and more things happen. But then we'll find out more in Discovery. But I feel like we needed more of it. We needed a bigger push on it, and it's nice that at this moment we're still really in it. This will have been written, and they'll still be really invested in the idea of the temporal Cold War.
Yeah, the thing that I keep sort of gravitating around in this episode is the mention of Daniels being from the 31st century and then going forward in time to the 31st century, and I was like, oh, 31st century. Well, Discovery's future seasons and Starfleet Academy is 32nd century, and the burn lasted 100 years. And I was like, I'm really curious, when does this fall in the timeline? So I looked up, the 32nd century timeline on Memory Alpha. And it's the time period that Daniels comes from is only like 15 years before the burn happens. So presumably the temporal Cold War gets wrapped up, and then the Federation suffers this massive, sort of catastrophe. And like, I would love to watch that show, right? That like, that covers that 15-year period between these things are happening in the temporal wars with, Matt Winston / David Cronenberg's, Agent Daniels, to then, by season 15, the burn happens. Like, that'd be a great show. Like, I want, like somebody give me that show.
And we know from Voyager there are time ships floating back and forth.
Yes. Yeah,
there are also temporal agents in the 24th century who are investigating, temporal things. They've got the what are they called?
Department of Temporal Investigations.
And then we've got, if Picard, we've got temporal agents flicking back and forth.
Yeah.
There is so much time travel, and actually for it to coalesce into one long narrative is really fun. It's really interesting. And to see, a war isn't just one person versus one person. It is a whole group of people all doing different things, all across time, weaving back and forth. And it never, I feel like other iterations of Star Trek could have lent into this, even if it was just for 1 or 2 episodes, to say, that whole war is going on, will go on, we were one part of it, we did this part of it. I just think it's so cool and so clever. I just wish they'd lent into it a bit more.
Yeah. It is one of those like big missed moments, but also big opportunity for anybody in the future who wants some, what I think would be really compelling Star Trek storytelling. Like, it's still available there to kind of be, picked up and run with.
I agree. I think actually people are down now for almost more complicated science fiction. They will follow a complex story as long as the story is compelling, and as long as it's really interesting, and as long as it makes sense. And with time travel, you can finagle things sometimes, but at the end of the day, the story has to logically follow and be compelling. But I think the Temporal Cold War is ripe for a further exploration, because I think it can be complicated, weird, and crazy in all the right ways.
Transfer of data is complete.
Well, that's all the time we've got for this episode of Warp Factor 5. You've heard our ratings for these 5 episodes, but I want to hear from you. What ratings do you give Vox Sola through Shockwave Part 1? Let me know via Blue Sky and Threads, where you can reach me at Alex T. Perry, or X, where I'm at Alexander T. Perry. Or you can email the show at warpfactor5@trekcore.com. Make sure to also tell me your favorite series regular performance, guest performance, production design, quiet moment, and loud moment, and we'll cover all the feedback we get at the end of each season, which in this case will be the next episode. Ross, thank you so much for joining me on Warp Factor 5. How can people contact you if they want to continue the conversation?
I am always on Blue Sky talking about either Tuvix or posting Star Trek limericks, so I am at Teborg, Tehborg.
And if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. And for all your Star Trek news needs, including our extensive media archives of all things Star Trek, I hope you will keep your senses locked to trekcore.com. Well, thank you, Ross. Thank you to all of my listeners. And until next time, take us to Warp Factor 5. Come and owned by Trapezoid Media, LLC.